Alright guys, we are indeed here checking out some variant of Lunalight. This is going to be a Luna Kali Yuga combo. In fact, most people are utilizing this in spirals. Basically, you summon Kali Yuga and your opponent literally just loses. That's the orientation of how a lot of decks will be kind of going forward. The whole goal is really just to go ahead and throw one of the cards into the graveyard, which is the Phantom Knights of Silent Boots. Once you go ahead and have that in the graveyard, you can go ahead and actually just banish it to go ahead and add the Phantom Knights Rank Up Magic Launch, which instantly just gives you the ability to go ahead and go into Kali Yuga. Basically, you can go straight from a rank 4 play, which will pretty much just be, you can go Utopia double, and then you can go ahead and add that card, and then just go ahead and make Utopia Kaiser. Now this is the important part with the combo. You need to bring out the number 89. You could actually probably target a lot of different things, but for the sake of the video, this one does offer potentially an ability where if a card your opponent owns and possesses is banished face down while you control this card, you get to banish cards from the top of your opponent's deck face down equal to their face down banished cards, which should actually be quite great with, let's say, Desires. You can definitely use it for that, but for the most part, you're going to get this combo off every time. The instance where you wouldn't get it would be, of course, when they would tribute it with a Kaiju, because usually you want to go ahead and activate that effect and get out the Kali Yuga once your opponent activates like one effect. So pretty much what it does is it makes it so for the rest of this turn, other cards and their effects cannot be activated on the field, and other card effects on the field are negated. It does include your own cards, so keep that in mind as well, but we're really also utilizing it for another bonus of it because that's not enough. So basically, you stop your opponent's cards from being able to be activated via the field, and then on top of that, once per turn, during either player's turn, you need to detach a material from his card, destroy all spell and trap cards on the field. So that can include your cards, but basically what that means is that your opponent can't really stall against your Kali Yuga because you could just basically pop everything. This is why this card is super OP, and that's why a lot of different decks are making it. There is also a few other plays that you can do in this deck variant, but I want to go ahead and show you guys a lot of different replays so you guys can get a variety of ways to go ahead and pull off what essentially is kind of the combo to go ahead and make the Kali Yuga. But there are other extra deck plays which you guys will see here in a moment. But basically, a lot of different decks can make use of Kali Yuga. Any variant plus dangers can enable this. Also, Lunalights are very resilient from coming back into the game because they are able to recycle very, very well. And as you guys saw from the first duel over there, the other card did get negated, and we are still able to go ahead and make this play over here. But pretty much, it's just kind of bread and butter. You go for the combo of just going for Utopia Kaiser. Now in this instance, we also have a Appaloosa, Bow of the Goddess, so in addition to having Kali Yuga, you can have even more negates, although this pretty much seals the deal on most duels, but it makes it so your opponent might actually Kaiju this thing as well. And I know you might be thinking, well, you just negated this card so it doesn't actually do anything. If you get Kali Yuga's effect, pretty much nothing matters. Like, you win the game anyways. Should have popped all the cards, but whatever, it doesn't matter. It's game over. For most duelists, once you make Kali Yuga, they will pretty much quit out on you, and I don't really blame them because you literally say, like, you just lose a turn, and you can't set anything because what's the point of setting it when they all get blown up anyways? This card actually kind of needs to be banned, personally. I think that, you know, the rank up card was gone for a reason, and they're like, yo, we'll just bring it back, no problem. I think that was maybe a mistake. Let me know how you guys already feel about Kali Yuga. If you have not played against it, don't worry. Everyone's going to be playing spirals and they'll be making it, and then on top of that, they will also have other follow-up plays. The Lunalight is more so with follow-up plays from the next turn to go ahead and just kind of make things, which you guys will see here later down the line. But keep in mind, if you do Kali Yuga pop everything, that does include all of your other spiral cards, but that's a topic for another day. I wanted to kind of cover Lunalights because I've seen on my recommended feed, literally it's just spirals, and like I was like, okay, I could make a spiral video, but I feel like that's already been done, so we're going to go ahead and show off the variant where you are obviously making it. Plus you get 2 extra deck monsters at the end of the day, and you can actually recycle them with the Infinite Track, which we will see here in a moment. I just want to, again, give you guys some variety. At first, I thought we were in a wrong year. I was like, Necro Gardenet in 2020, I haven't seen this guy in quite some time. This guy really needed to go first. This is the problem with anti-meta. This is the problem problem with, I'd say, a lot of different decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! You don't get to go first, well, I'm sorry, you just basically lose out, because a lot of cards will have that interaction where you get to banish this card from the graveyard, but if there was no graveyard, well, maybe he would have done a little bit better here, let's be honest. But nonetheless, that's not the point. We're not here to show off what the heck is this. I looked at it and I was like, what the heck, the Helos, Duos, and mixing in. It's a banish deck, but you know, does he have Grand Maju? Grandmaju.exe, okay, there it is. That deck, it definitely needs to be able to get that Macrocosmos turn 1, and that's just how a lot of decks are. If you don't get to go first, you lose the dice roll. I'm sorry, man, you're losing. But in this instance, we also happen to have the Titanic Galaxy. Now, the effects are technically negated right now, but no, just wait. So he's going to go ahead and be able to stop everything, and then he's going to go ahead and search out the Golden Castle, which now he can activate still. But once again, you need to go for the pop, but there is 2 extra cards over here, and now he's just going to go ahead and pop it during his turn. But because that effect is once effect during either player's turn, I would reactivate it like immediately once he just goes ahead and ends. But nonetheless, we also have the Tiger King over here, because a lot of the Lunalights are searchable off of course, your Tenki, and now we're going to go ahead and Snatch Steal. And when we've got this Infinitrack Fortress Mega Clops over here, this card is actually really good, because it's unaffected by other monster effects, except those Exceed monsters, and then on top of that, you can target Exceed monster in your graveyard, and then target one card your opponent controls, you special that monster, and then you can attach it. So you just like Snatch Steal your opponent's card over here, and then just for extra disrespect, he's like, you know, we ain't even gonna make a game. We're gonna go ahead and activate this effect of Utopia Kaiser once again, but it doesn't really matter. It's pretty much game over anyways. And then this one is going to be up against Black Wings, which I know some of these decks might not be considered the most meta, but again, if you activate Kali Yuga's effect, it's really hard to recover from that for majority of decks, because you have what Bigfoot Pop, like there's just very little things that you can really do against the Kali Yuga. Once it comes out, your opponent can't do too much. If there are better outs, let me know. I mean, obviously Nibiru would be an out, any hand trap would be an out, but if you don't happen to have those, obviously this deck can roll over a lot of different decks. I think, well, once we get to the deck profile, make some suggestions. A lot of times you do kind of go all in anyways for this specific play, and they would probably stop you somewhere along the tracks of making this. However, you can definitely make plays if your opponent negates 1 to 2. When your opponent negates 3 cards, this deck can't really do too much, I'll be honest. But nonetheless, I mean, that's just how Yu-Gi-Oh! Is. But we're going to go ahead and he's going to get that Mari Mari. He's got that Veiler, but it's just a little bit too late, man. Unfortunate for him. He's got that Black Worm, but he's going to go ahead and attempt, but Kali Yuga's going to go ahead and be like, I'm sorry, no roll-one, mate. And then so he's left with just this poor little Usher the Southwind. But now that you guys have seen the gameplay, let's go ahead and hop right into the deck profile in case any of you guys do want to go ahead and make this a variant. So it is basically a danger variant. It's a 43 card deck. This again is just for the Master Rule 2020 here. But pretty much it's just spam the dangers, go ahead and go for your Curios, go ahead and have that Foolish effect, and then you go ahead and go off with, of course, your Phantom Knight card. And oh, there's actually another target here, which is just another summonable thing to go ahead and of course go for more copies of Curio. Well, faster or alternative ways if your opponent happens to negate Curios. But here's the deck profile. So we've got 1 copy of Danger Nessie, we've got 1 copy of Lunalight Wolf, 3 copies of Mothman, 1 copy of Zephyros, 3 copies of the Chupacabra, 3 copies of the Kaleido Chick, 1 copy of Emerald Bird, 2 copies of Yellow Martin, 1 copy of Seating Lanius, 2 copies of the Dangerous Tsuchinoko, 3 copies of the Lunalight Tiger, 1 copy of Ancient Cloak, 2 copies of Jackalope, 1 copy of Silent Boots, 3 copies of Allure, 3 copies of Foolish Burial Goods. This allows you to go ahead and send your Perfume to the graveyard, which will then be banished to add whatever Lunalight card that you need for your combo. And then we've got Foolish Burial, we've got Monster Reborn, of course your Phantom Knights Rank Up Magic Launch, and then we have 1 copy of Double or Nothing for, of course, your Utopia lineup for that ability to go ahead and add that, and then special summon another Utopia that using that card as material. There's a downside though, where is it can't attack directly. Oh no, but it doesn't really matter. But we've got 3 copies of Tenki, and then the Shade Brigandine, and then we've got Lunalight Serenade Dance. For the extra deck, there are technically ways to go for Lunalight if you maybe want to, but I think that was kind of mostly scrapped for. Of course, Kali Yuga is just way too OP. I think this card honestly should be like maybe E-banned. I mean, technically with this card over here, I just feel like that card is the enabler. But this card is just way too strong. I mean, obviously, you don't use DDD monsters to actually go for it. It's supposed to be for DDDs, not for every deck to go ahead and make it. But again, that's what everyone's going to be doing. And then we got number 93, Utopia Kaiser. This is the card that is going to enable you to go ahead and special summon those monsters, of course, to make the Kali Yuga. Then we've got number 38, we've got number 89, and then we got Utopia, and then Tiger King, Tornado Dragon, Dweller, 4 Strix. This just lets you add that extra Zephyros. And then we've got Utopia Double, and then Infinitrack, which you guys did see in the combo here, and then Kyros, which is required for the combo. Barricade Blocker. A lot of times it's just used for that discard effect. Adding the continuous field spell, that doesn't matter. We're just utilizing it for that discard ability to go ahead and reset one of the cards. But anyways, guys, that is it for the Lunalight Kali Yuga deck profile. And big shout outs to my boy Allan TCG for hooking me up with this deck profile as well as the combo. I think you could maybe throw in some hand traps, or if you really wanted to, you could even throw in Called, just because this is a deck that is very combo reliant, and if you get some of your things disrupted, you could definitely lose out. Like I said, you can play through 1, maybe 2 negates, but playing through 3 negates is definitely something that I would say is a little bit, unless you have some type of god hand, it's pretty much just going to be GG. But a lot of decks these days are just oriented around, I get to go first? Okay, I win. But if you are playing up against this deck, Nibiru can be an excellent combo guard to go ahead and combat this. In fact, most people at this point are main decking triple Droll Lock. Well, we'll talk about more about side decks in another topic, but for the most part, it's like triple Droll, triple copy, evenly matched. Like, people are just spamming the boards, but when you go ahead and have this card, there's not too much that your opponent can do. But anyways, thanks for tuning in, guys. Have a good one, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a good one. I'm signing out. Peace.